We have a loaded show coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles, now live from Las Vegas, Super Bowl 58 Radio Row. And on the docket here, an interview with Brian Baldinger of NFL Network. Some interesting things to say about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles culture. We have an interview with Eagles left tackle Jordan Mailata on the heels of us bringing on Covey on the show yesterday. And then Darren Woodson, a three-time All-Pro, three-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys, joined us from Las Vegas, and I asked him about the Eagles-Cowboys rivalry. All of that coming up. In case you missed it yesterday, Eagles punt returner Covey, who's been one of the best punt returners in the game the last year and a half, as well as getting some snaps increasingly at wide receiver, joined us on Eagles Now yesterday, shed some fascinating insight on why the Eagles' collapse happened. And the clip went viral on X. A lot of radio stations in Philadelphia, 94 WIP, talking about it. It's been picked up by places like Crossing Broad and other national outlets. Great interview. I encourage you to go back and watch it. And it's up on the channel right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. As for our interview with Brian Baldinger, caught up with him from Las Vegas. He discussed Nick Sirianni coming back for year 4. He had some interesting thoughts on how the Eagles need to get tougher with their culture and with the way that they practice. And you remember what Javon Hargrave of the San Francisco 49ers said a couple of weeks ago, which made headlines, that the 49ers practice like the Miami Heat. Philadelphia Eagles practice like the Golden State Warriors, where it's not as physical, not as demanding. And then I asked Baldy, why did Jalen Hurts decline? Here's what he had to say in that interview from Las Vegas.
Way to beat you.
Let's talk some Philadelphia Eagles. They elect to bring Nick Sirianni back. So much success in his 3 years in Philadelphia, but the way that the season ended, having lost 7 of 8, seat got a little bit hot. What did you think about the Birds bringing Sirianni back?
I didn't have any problem with it. I thought that they have to make some strange changes, though. They did. Position coaches, coordinators, they had to make changes. But they have to, I think, change the way they operate. I think they got to get tougher. I think they got to practice harder. I think they got to be more demanding of their players.
Do you think that what Javon Hargrave said about the practice habits between San Francisco and Philadelphia is real, where San Francisco, the Miami Heat, Philadelphia Eagles, Golden State Warriors?
Well, I don't know about the NBA analogies because I don't know much about those. I mean, I know the teams, but I think that I think what Javon said was accurate. I see it in training camp. I think there's got to be more of an emphasis in practice and getting more done physically than what they have done.
Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, what do you think of those hires?
I mean, look, they've all had success in this business. Vic was there the year before. He's familiar with the organization, how Nick goes about his business. That helps that he'd been there for a year. Kellen Moore's had success in different places, and he's a former player. Like the quarterback has to play at a higher level. Maybe this offense can get him back to where he was.
Why do you think Jalen Hurts dropped off from last year?
Some of it might be injuries. Some of it might be the simplistic approach to offense. I think he's got to be. I think he wants to be coached harder. He's got to be coached harder.
So you have Baldy saying that the Eagles need to get a little bit tougher, and then yesterday on the show, this is the direct quote from Covey. I definitely think we got emotionally tired trying to figure out what the problem was. There was some miscommunication from coaches to players. There was some pointing fingers from player to player, and there was letting outside voices impact our love for the game and the happiness that we had. All of that combined to kind of make us spiral. Eagles need to make some changes in 2024. There's no doubt about that, and we're going to talk about that with Jordan Mailata and why Eagles fans should still believe. First, let me ask you this, though. Were the Eagles physically and mentally soft this year, like Baldy alluded to? Want to hear from you down in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no. The San Francisco 49ers took the will and broke this Eagles team. They never recovered. Now, coming up next here on the show, an exclusive interview with Eagles left tackle Jordan Mailata. We talked Kellen Moore. We talked about the Eagles bouncing back in 2024. Stay tuned for that. But first, if you're looking to go to the big game here in Las Vegas, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, you can with the Game Time app. And they're running a big game promo. $100 off if you use the code Vegas100 with the Game Time app. Absolutely free to download. You're guaranteed to get the lowest price at the last moment. Now, you don't just have to go to the big game. You don't have to just go to a sporting event. Myself, producer Jeremy Chuggs, we're thinking about going to Tom Segura and Burt Kreischer here in Las Vegas last minute. And if we do, we're going to pop up the Game Time app. You can also get $20 off using the code EaglesChat. You get the vantage point and the price point from where you'll be sitting, and you see the view from your actual seats with the Game Time app. So $20 off using the code EaglesChat for first-time users. And then for any user, big game code is Vegas100 for $100 off. We'll put that information down for you in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. Next up on the show, we're joined by Eagles left tackle Jordan Mailata from Las Vegas. Why the Eagles can bounce back in 2024. And he discussed the hiring of new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. And I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles can bounce back next year. Super Bowl hangover, I thought, was real. Britton Covey even said it. We got a little bit tired. We let outside noises kind of affect us as a football team. But the Eagles next year are still going to have a really, really good roster. A lot of premium players on this Philadelphia Eagles team. And I like how the coaching staff is shaping up. You have a very successful and experienced offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. He's called plays at the NFL level for a really long time, and his offenses have produced very, very good results. He's going to bring some creativity to Philadelphia with a lot of pre-snap motion. His Dallas offenses were always top 5 in scoring. They ran the ball. Explosive plays. Dak Prescott, I thought, saw his game elevate with Kellen Moore calling the plays. Last year, a little bit of a disaster with the Los Angeles Chargers, but from top to bottom, it was a disaster for the Chargers in 2023. And then Vic Fangio, a seasoned defensive mind who I think is going to be able to maximize players on this roster, put them in positions to succeed a lot better as compared to Sean Desai, as well as Matt Patricia. And Britton Covey in that interview also said, that change at defensive coordinator was really, really tough for us. So with Jordan Mailata here, I asked him specifically, why do you think the Eagles are going to be able to bounce back in 2024? That Super Bowl hangover became real. The gauntlet broke the Eagles during that really difficult stretch. And here's what Jordan Mailata had to say on a couple of those subject matters.
Here in Las Vegas, Super Bowl Radio Row with Jordan Mailata, left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, it's been a pivotal offseason so far for Philadelphia and a lot of action. Curious to get your thoughts on the new offensive coordinator hiring Kellen Moore and some of the concepts that he's going to bring this offense.
I'm excited. I don't know what he's going to bring, so this is going to be good. I'll be honest. I like what he did with the Cowboys 2 years ago, or however long he was there. But, I'm excited to see what he brings in, man. It's going to be something new. It's going to be refreshing. And maybe that's what we need right now. So the direction that we're heading, I'm excited for, and we'll go from there.
Obviously, with how Philadelphia kind of ended the season, why should Eagles fans believe that this team can get back on track in 2024? Still a lot of premium players on this roster.
Exactly. We still got a great team. And Philadelphia has a high standard for their players, and we didn't reach that. We reached it, and we just declined. And I guess we got to be more consistent. And if there's one thing I know that this team can do, is bounce back from adversity, and that's what you can expect out of this team coming into the 2024 season. We're a good team. We can bounce back, and I'm always going to be the positive and the belief guy. So that's what I believe in, man.
And here's what Kellen Moore can bring to Philadelphia and what you can expect. A modern offense that features a lot of pre-snap motion. The Eagles were last in pre-snap motion rate in 2023. And then we know that Nick Sirianni likes to prioritize and implement a lot of vertical route concepts. I thought that he was lacking in the creativity department. And we've talked about this a couple of times here on the show, that Jeff McLean interview with Nick Sirianni before the year, when he asked him specifically, do you think that you can add more to the playbook? Do you need to evolve and become a little bit more creative? And Nick Sirianni said, I don't know if it's as much of us evolving and adding things new to the playbook as much as it is just continuing to hone in on what we can do well. Well, several months later, the Eagles needed to get more creative, and they weren't doing what they did well, number one, and then number two, other teams were really starting to catch up on what Philadelphia liked to do offensively, and Nick Bosa even said after that Eagles loss to San Francisco, I think we put the playbook out there for how to stop Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense. Lane Johnson even said, yeah, that Niners defeat, that kind of broke us to a certain degree. And if you looked at the offensive numbers after that Niners game, Eagles offense never recovered. They were never the same unit. Now, as far as Kellen Moore, going back to him, a lot of pedigree, a lot of success. First year as Cowboys offensive coordinator, 431.5 total net yards per game. That was the 10th best mark ever. Number one offense in 2021, 31 points per game. And then 4 years as the Cowboys offensive coordinator, number two in total offense with 391 yards per game and then 27.7 points per game as well. So that's what he's going to be able to bring to Philadelphia. I know that I threw out some other candidates out there before the Eagles hired Kellen Moore. We didn't have him on our candidates list because he was still employed by the Los Angeles Chargers. I was a little bit lukewarm on the hire, but everything that I've kind of gathered here, a lot of people do like the hiring of Kellen Moore to Philadelphia. Lastly here on the show, three-time All-Pro, three-time Super Bowl champion Darren Woodson, who had a great career with the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's a matter of time before he goes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame to get that gold jacket. Asked him about this Eagles-Cowboys rivalry, and it was actually pretty funny toward the end because he told me that I suck. I got to sneak this one in here. I'm from Philadelphia.
Oh.
Eagles-Cowboys rivalry. As a Cowboys great, what do you think about the Eagles? What comes to mind when you think about that great rivalry in the NFC East?
Well, I always loved that rivalry. You know, when I first came in the league, though, I got to tell you, man, it was back then the Washington Redskins, who had just won the Super Bowl champion. That was our biggest rival.
Yep.
The New York Giants with Parcells and Lawrence Taylor and those guys, that was a huge rivalry. And the Eagles were landed like at number 3 because Redskins had won it in 91. The Giants had won it in 90 or 89 or whatever that was. So those are our two biggest rivals. But then time flip. Andy Reid came in. They got better, much better. Donovan McNabb came in, and they were lights out back then. And that's where the rivalry really adjusted. I love the rivalry. I love the players with the Eagles. Great friends. Brian Dawkins is a good friend of mine, and even like Donovan McNabb being just good guys. But the fans suck, and I'm going to be honest with you. They are the worst fans in the history of the NFL-dom. Like, it just sucks, man, to deal with the fan base. And they'll boo me. They'll cuss me out, call my mom names, and, you get it. But, and I say that jokingly, but
of course
they're the best at representing, their team, and they'll let you know. And it's always been a great rivalry.
I'm not that bad of a guy, right?
You suck. I didn't tell you that earlier when we came out.
I represent the good in Eagles
You were really good at first, and then you told me you're born and raised in Philly, and I was like, that's it.
Darren Woodson, thanks for joining the show.
No, I appreciate it.
You just see all types of different celebrities, current and former players. It's a who's who of celebrities. That right there, having a former Cowboys great telling me that I suck because I'm from Philadelphia and I'm an Eagles fan, it's one of the highlights of my week. How about them Cowboys? Before we hop on out of here, make sure you give me a follow on X. Make sure you give me a follow on Instagram at Chase_Senior. Have some great content that's been blowing up on those social media pages. Appreciate all of you for watching, and keep it locked here for the best, most informative, most insightful Eagles coverage.